All right, Kevin back with you for another episode of the $1 Million Relationships Podcast. And today I'm here with Nellie Akalp. Nellie, welcome. So awesome to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be on your show. I'm humbled, I'm grateful, I'm excited. This is an honor. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Because I'll tell you what, Nellie, it feels the same exact way for me. And we're going to have an awesome conversation today.
Yes, we are.
And
I can't wait.
yeah. And I want to start off by giving a shout out to Allison, Allison Sinclair. So Allison's your PR person? Is that how you would describe Allison? How would we describe Allison?
I describe her as my boss, to be
Your
honest.
boss, okay?
My boss. She tells me where to show up, what to do, I do. And without her, I don't think any of this is possible. Without her, I don't think I would be where I am today. From a PR standpoint, from an influencer standpoint, there's so much that goes on in the back in getting us together and these types of relationships.
Yeah.
And she does such a great job of promoting me, and I'm just grateful for her, and I'm grateful for this. So
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, I will second that because she sent me an email a couple months ago, and she is really good at talking you up because she had sent me an email telling me about you. And she's like, Kevin, she goes, I think Nellie would be a really great person to interview for your podcast. And here's why. And by the time I got done reading what she shared, I'm like, oh my gosh, heck yes. I'd love to meet Nellie and get to know her a little bit. And of course, you and I got to have that conversation and get to know each other a little bit.
yes.
And so, Allison, if you happen to be listening to this, I just want to let you know you are definitely appreciated and you are really brilliant at doing what you do as well. And so I just want to
She's
honor that.
definitely gonna listen to this because I'm telling you, she's always listening to all of my podcasts, giving me feedback. So my hat's off to you, Allison. You know how much I love you. We've been working together for over 16 plus years. So
Wow.
and it's those relationships that you really have to foster, and really there's something to be said about that, because it's mutual. She does her part, I do my part, and it wouldn't happen any other way, or it wouldn't happen as it has been if both of us were not doing our parts, and
Yes.
she's definitely on top of her game, and I'm grateful and blessed to have her on my team.
I'll tell you, 16 years, that is so awesome. I mean, what a testament right there to the power of right relationships. And of course, that's what this podcast is all about. And yeah, wow, that is awesome. Well, okay. So, what I'd like to do is I'd like to start, but I want to just kind of start off by talking about what you guys do and who you serve and what inspires you most about the work that you get to do through your business and the impact that you get to make.
Thank you. So, Kevin, I've been doing this for such a long time. I'm really a veteran when it comes to the online legal filing industry, when it
Okay.
comes to entity filings, formation, compliance, payroll tax, account setups and closures in any of the 50 states. I literally started this back in 1997
Okay.
when I was graduating law school. And it really was because of my husband and business partner, Phil Akalp. We've been married for we just celebrated our 28 years anniversary, and we've
Well,
been
congratulations.
Thank you. We've been together for 31 years. We met in undergrad and decided we had really similar interests and went to law school together. And in our last year of law school, he was failing his corporations class and decided to put up, literally study guides on a website for his corporations class. And he's like, the way I'm going to learn all this is by literally creating study guides, putting it up. And that led to him coming up with the idea of, there's a lot of businesses that want to start, and the internet was at the cusp of coming, being born. And
Mm.
in his corporations class, they were talking about what are the hot industries. One was Enron, and the other one was online incorporation services. Thank God we picked online incorporation services. So he came up to me, came up with the idea, and he's like, "Hey, I need help starting this." The two of us come from such different backgrounds. He comes from a very technical background. I call him a techie nerd,
Okay.
he
Okay.
loves computers. He loves being on his computer. He loves building stuff. He loves automation, building software. And I come from a very strong, sales and marketing background. So the two of us together, it just, created a beautiful magic when it came to starting a business. And we started our first company back in 1997, started it from our two-bedroom apartment, grew that to where we were doing a substantial amount of sales, grew it. And in 2005, we were approached by a publicly traded company. We were acquired and said yes to the acquisition. In 2005, we were acquired by Intuit. Took some time off after that acquisition.
Yep.
Um, and after our non-compete ran out, we decided we were too young, too passionate, and frankly, too bored to take on an early retirement. So the market was ripe for us, even though it was saturated and it was fully commoditized. But, being entrepreneurs as we are, we always have this notion of there's plenty of business to go around for everybody. So we started CorpNet in
Okay.
2009, and here we are today in 2025, and I'm really, really excited about the run we've had with CorpNet. CorpNet is right now one of the leading providers when it comes to providing incorporation, business formation, ND formation compliance, and uh, sales and payroll tax registrations nationwide in all 50 states. Believe it or not, one of our partners is Intuit, the company who acquired our first business.
Uh-huh.
We're blessed, and we're just having a great time. And really, what inspires me about this industry is really getting out here and trying to help people blazing their trails, because
Okay.
as far as I'm concerned, I've done my mark, I've created my legacy, I'm here, I'm doing it every day. I love what I do, I'm passionate about it. But what really, really gives me the drive and the purpose to get up, show up every day is that feeling of how I can touch other people and getting on, platforms like this with you. And my thing is if I can just get my message to one person, I've done my job, because it literally takes that one person to have heard my podcast or my appearance somewhere, and they're working a 9 to 5 job, and making that change, like, what, I have this passion of starting this business, and what, I heard her, I listened to her, and I'm gonna go for it. And that's what really drives me. And I get so much feedback from people on a daily basis of like, it was because of your genuine, authentic, you know, appearance that I heard on this platform or that platform that I decided to take the leap into entrepreneurship. And that's what really excites me. And that's what keeps me going every day.
Wow. Wow. So are the bulk of your clients, do they come to you as they're becoming entrepreneurs for the first time? Is that who the bulk of your clients are, Nellie?
That's a great question, Kevin. So we have a mix.
Okay.
We offer our services to entrepreneurs who come to us that are trying to start a business. We also offer our services to advisors who are representing clients. So it's a
Okay.
pretty big mix of different individuals who come to us. It's a website, so we cater to everyone and anyone who wants to start a business, grow their business, expand their business, or if they have an existing business and they want to keep their business in compliance. We're there to help them. We're at their service. But in answer to your specific question, it's a mix. We have
Okay.
entrepreneurs who are just starting out. They need that help to, dot those I's and cross those, T's and get their foundation of their business set up. So they come to us. And then we have those advisors and entrepreneurs who are already in business and are looking to expand, or who are representing clients who are trying to start a business. So it's a pretty good mix.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. So, what is you started your first company in 1997. I remember, you know what? That was the year that I bought my very first computer was 1997.
Well, congratulations.
And I can still remember that dial-up sound of getting on AOL, way back when and stuff. And when the internet's come a little ways
I
since then.
know, right?
And
Yeah, we've come a long way.
it sure has. It sure
Those
has.
big bulky computers, and now it's like your computer, it's like this little skinny tower. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just blown away, by how much technology has transformed.
Oh, yeah. And like even the monitors were like big and then
Yes,
way deep
yes,
too.
yes,
And
yes,
so,
yes, yes,
and well, so you started the company in 1997, you built it up, then got acquired by Intuit in 2005, correct?
yes.
And so then you had a period of time that for 4 years from 2005 to 2009, where but by 2009, your non-compete had expired, and now you guys were like, wow, we want to do something more here. And so 2009. So now we're talking. That's been another 16 years. So 16 years since you started this company.
Yes.
And so, what is your vision for the company going forward from here, Nellie?
It's we are, continuing to serve entrepreneurs and advisors, and the vision here for us is to continue to educate entrepreneurs, to continue to make the business filings, entity filings aspect of starting a business really seamless, and to continue to educate entrepreneurs and advisors as to how these filings are available to them, and they can do this without the need to pay those high attorney fees to attorneys to get these filings done for them. Because to this day, believe it or not, in my opinion, there's this lack of awareness that you don't need to go pay an attorney $5,000 to $10,000 to set up a corporation or LLC for you. You can do this on your own, or with the help of a company like ours, who's very tenured in these types of filings and can assist you for one fraction of a cost of what,
Okay.
the fraction of the price of what an attorney would cost you, and really save that money and use it when you really need the advice of counsel, or a legal a lawyer to assist you in the
Sure.
legal aspect of running your business. But to just simply form a business and bring in business into existence, you don't need a lawyer to set up
Okay.
and fill out these documents. You can do it yourself, or you can do it with the help of a reputable filing service such as CorpNet.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Okay, so now that we've got a little bit of context set here, people have an idea of who you are and what you're all about, Nellie. I want to switch gears just a little teeny bit. And I'm going to reiterate the question I want to ask you for the benefit of our listeners. So, Nellie, have you ever been introduced to a person or persons who completely changed the course of your life or your business, so much so that much of what you have today would not be possible if not for this person? And I just look forward to hearing about your story and your experience around this topic of relationships.
So thank you for that. I love this question. And, you know, when it comes to my personal growth as an entrepreneur, there's been so many people, throughout my life that have um, either given me the ability to learn from them, or learn from them in a way where I've seen their actions and have determined, like, I definitely don't want to do that. Or they've shown me how I definitely want to do what they've done. So it's kind of a mix because throughout our life, for me, just as a human being, forget about the entrepreneur part of myself is, life is a journey in and of itself. And to me, every lesson through life that we go through, there's a teaching behind it. And, I've been introduced to a lot of people throughout my life. I mean, for example, my grandfather was a big pivotal part of my life. I remember long, long conversations with him as I was growing up. I was raised by my grandparents, so he was a huge part of my life. And the one thing that I'll always remember from him, God rest his soul, is remember that every single day of your life, you need to get up, suit up, show up, and be consistent in whatever you do. And education, even though, if you're taking a class and you're sitting in that class and you're wondering, how is this going to help me in my life? You got to go through that because it's about the process of getting up, showing up, and completing that task. And he was a big proponent of education and, getting my degree. And then, other people that came through my life. For example, my husband's been a big aspect of my growth, as a human being, of just don't be so hard on yourself, take life lightly, don't be so judgmental about yourself and don't be so critical of yourself. Also, don't the other thing that he's taught me is, which is really big for me now, and I really try to tell other people about this, is you are your own as an entrepreneur. Don't wait for outside validation. You
Uh,
are your own biggest validator. Like, look at your own successes, look at how far you've come. That in and of itself is your validation. So
yes.
he serves a big purpose for me on a daily basis. I love him. He's my best friend. He is my ride or die. I couldn't live a day without him. And, we're married together. We co-parent together, 4 beautiful children. We run a business together. So you can imagine, I mean, I don't want to paint this picture of like life is always rosy posy. I mean, we have our issues too, but at the end of the day, like he is my ride or die, and he is such a pivotal part of my life. And then my kids also are such teaching mechanisms for me. They are a mirror image of me and who I want to be and who I don't want to be. They teach me every single day. So, in answer to your question, those are the people, throughout my life that have taught me things. And then
Yeah.
there's people that have come in and out of my life of, that I've taken positives from, and I've also seen them in that, oh my God, I don't want to, be that person. I
Yep.
don't want
Yep.
to, serve as that type of a person or give off an image like that person.
Yep.
So that's on the personal part. As far as CorpNet goes, I have to tell you, I worked with a beautiful gentleman, a colleague, my husband and I did, and he passed away several years ago. And he was one of the reasons why CorpNet is where it is today. And that, working with my friend Eric and what he brought to CorpNet, and the beauty of it was that we met just similar to you on a podcast like this. And that friendship from a podcast, he ran the School of Bookkeeping podcast. It
Okay.
grew more, and then we decided to work together. And at the beginning, CorpNet was really struggling because when we started CorpNet, both Phil and I came out like, we've done this before, we could do it again. We had these big egos, and literally, excuse my language, we had our ass handed over to us. Literally, I'm not even kidding you. It was so funny. We had our ass handed over to us. Like, no, what you've done before is not going to happen again. And the universe really, got on us quickly and said, you know what? With this business, you're going to have to work your butts off. And we were just, you know, trying everything, and we're not the type of people who give up. When we started CorpNet, the market was fully commoditized. It was a big barrier to entry. And what we did with our first company, mycorporation.com, wasn't going to work with this company. So for the first, I would say, 5 to 6 years, we were literally paying ourselves to work at CorpNet and trying to make CorpNet grow. And then finally, we met Eric, and Eric joined our team, and he like we were so in it, Kevin, that we weren't able to look at the business
Sure.
holistically from the top down. And
Yeah.
Eric came in and looked at us, and he's like, Phil and Nellie, look at who your clients are. Most of your clients are these advisors representing clients. You guys need to come up with the CorpNet Partner Program. Go out there and make CorpNet Partner Program your biggest product out there, and get these accountants and CPAs and lawyers and any type of professional that is representing clients join your program. And that's how you're going to grow CorpNet. And the funny part of it was that I was already doing this, and he just came in and put a bow on it and put a name on it, and
Uh-huh.
boom, that was one of the pivotal moments of where we saw the business grow from where we were to the next level. And then the next one was, believe it or not, and this is kind of bittersweet for me, Kevin, because COVID, it was such a heartbreaking moment for so many people. That
Yeah.
pandemic has really changed our nation, our whole country,
Yeah.
like nationwide. It's made so many, I would say, um, pivotal changes,
Yeah.
that are still the remnants remain. And although a lot of people went bellied up, so many companies shut down, so many people were furloughed and let go of their jobs, there was a lot of blessings from it too. And that's why it's like, for me, I always look at things like this as like, it's happening for a reason. Yes, there's the immediate negatives of it, but there's a lesson from this. There's a blessing from this. There's a silver lining. And the silver lining for us as entrepreneurs was, as this was happening, we were scrambling to find out, okay, what can we do to solve the pain points that are now out there for
Mhm.
all of these business owners? And a lot of businesses went bellied up, and a lot of these business owners that were fired from their 9 to 5 jobs were scrambling to find, jobs or starting their own businesses. So for us, this was a pivotal moment for us to be like, hey, we've got you. We can solve your pain points. And one of the biggest pain points for us was businesses going remote and finding employees in all over the world and trying to scramble to figure out how they're going to set up payroll accounts to pay their employees. So we quickly came up with a solution and started providing payroll state account setups and closures nationwide. And that's where literally was the pivotal moment for CorpNet, from going from a 15-person company to now over 100 employees and plus.
Wow. Wow. All that happened because of COVID and
Yes,
stuff.
yes,
Wow. Wow.
yeah,
Interesting. Yeah,
yeah,
there were a lot of businesses, a lot of like small mom and pop restaurants,
yeah,
gyms, salons, a lot of those kind of businesses didn't survive because they were being all shut down.
yeah.
And
So it was a blessing in disguise for us, but I'll tell you, even getting to that point of figuring out really what we're trying to solve here, what pain point we're trying to solve for, we had to go through the iterations and the different steps of, at one point, we were providing, PPL application submissions and EIDL loan applications and helping all of our small business owners. But the thing that through all of this I look at is that we didn't shy away and give up. We were like, no, we're going to be there as a provider to solving pain points for our clients.
Yeah.
And we quickly pivoted because we didn't let the whole notion of a pandemic, take over and
Yeah.
take us over. We
Yeah.
leaned into it and we said, you know what? No problem. If this is where we're going to be right now, and if this is the state of our nation right now, okay, we're going to lean in, we're going to
Yep.
embrace it,
Yep.
and we're going to try to do whatever it takes to try to be of service to our clients
Yeah.
in any sort of capacity.
So what were some of the problems or what was the biggest problems that came up as a result of COVID that weren't there before that you guys were able to help your clients with and stuff? What's an example of some of those problems?
So the biggest example initially was a lot of people, as the government was offering these loans and
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
PPP loans and
Yeah.
the EIDL. But, again, for the average person, you have to go through a lengthy process to fill out these
Yeah.
applications. The average person who's you know is not used to filling out these applications, and so we came up with the service of let us assist you with filling out these applications so we can
Okay.
fast track your application to the governmental bodies, to the
Uh-huh.
SBA, in this case being the SDA. So that was a big help to a lot of users where they were so appreciative of us, like, wow, such a service exists that you're actually helping us with this application process to the SBA. And then from that, as everything kind of stabilized, people were starting to companies now that were not out of business and wanting to be remote, or businesses that were starting out as remote
Yep.
businesses were hiring employees, but really had a hard time figuring out how they're going to hire these employees in state and out of state, and figuring out how they're going to pay these employees through payroll. And the account setup, setting up those payroll tax accounts in state or out of state, was a big hurdle for them.
Okay.
Another pain point that we came out and made it very seamless for them and said, hey, if you're hiring in state or out of state, we can help you with these payroll tax account setups and closures. And then one thing led to another where we were helping a client, and then a client was associated with a payroll service provider, and they suggested us to that payroll service company, and then the payroll service company wanted to partner with us, and then everything went just exploded. And we were even at one point where we didn't have the manpower to fulfill all the orders in front of us. So it's a blessing. It's a blessing. And I'll tell you, it was a very hard time for a lot of us. For me, myself, I mean, I'm very open about my mental health. COVID did a number on me. I've always been a very strong force in front of my family and my in front of my employees, but COVID did a number on me. Like, the fact of me not being able to work from an office, having a place to go to, or not even being able to go out, that was really hard for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really
Same
hard.
here. I
Yeah.
was so used to interacting with people on I mean, I didn't realize how much, and it was a lot. And to have that just kind of, now all of a sudden go from being so socially active to now hardly anything,
Yeah. Yeah.
And man, what a change that was. And I'll tell you, I started using Zoom as a result of COVID
Yep.
because I used to go to a lot of events. I used to host a lot of events. And when COVID happened, I'm just like, well, you know what? I'm just going to start getting my entrepreneur friends together on Zoom. And, and that ended up being a big pivot for me. I still do that to this day. I've done hundreds and hundreds of Zoom gatherings for entrepreneurs to just bring them together and introduce them to each other so that they can just get to know each other and stuff, you know.
Same here, same here. And and again, it's like with all of this, you know, even though COVID and that pandemic was such a heartbreaking um, moment in history for all of us,
Yeah,
and that's why I call it bittersweet, is because there was a lot of heartbreak, there was a
there
lot of
was. Yeah,
trouble, but as a result of it, look at all of the other things that come out of it.
yes,
Like
yes,
now, we're able to hold these huge mediums of people on Zoom, and be able to bring a huge amount of people together on Zoom. And, even as a company ourselves, we're able to do that. We're able to help so many different families in all parts of the world where we're not just limited to California. So for me, that's where I say there's so much silver linings. Don't look at just whatever it's happening to you. Look at it as maybe it's happening for you in a
that's
positive.
right.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. My buddy Sean, before passed away, he used to always say, he's like, Kevin, he's like, everything happens through me and for me.
Yeah.
Nothing happens to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what a powerful way to
Yeah.
look at things,
Yeah.
because you're right. Yeah, COVID hurt us in a lot of ways. It also empowered us in a lot of ways too.
Really
So
did.
good things came
Really
from
did.
COVID. Yeah,
Really. So
yeah,
I'm, as much as I'm, not grateful for what it could do to us, physically, I'm grateful for all of the other things that it has brought to the table for us and for people, and allowing people from all across the world to conglomerate together and, to create things like this,
yeah, yeah.
so it's not
Absolutely.
limited to in person.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I really appreciate you taking the time to have this conversation, Nellie. And for anybody that's listening here right now going, man, Kevin, I really like Nellie. I love who she is. I love how she shows up. And maybe they might know somebody that, like, you know what, I know somebody she might be able to help, or so anybody think that any resources we can share, any websites, any resources we can share with folks?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you know, I'm founder and CEO of
Yeah.
corpnet.com. Please visit us at www.corpnet.com.
Okay.
If you are an entrepreneur or looking to become an entrepreneur, set up a business, or looking to set up a business for anyone that you're representing or knowing of somebody who wants to set up a business, CorpNet can provide startup services for setting up a corporation or LLC, or starting a business, expanding a business, or keeping a business in compliance in any of the 50 states. If you're planning on, if you have a business that's planning on hiring employees or no longer have employees and you want to set up payroll tax accounts or shut down payroll tax accounts, again, we can provide you with any aspect of setting up a business, keeping up a business in compliance, or closing down a business in any of the 50 states. Visit us at www.corpnet.com. You can also send your inquiries to info@corpnet.com, or
Okay.
pick up the phone and dial 1-888-449-2638.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, Nellie, any last thing that you feel led to share before we call it a wrap?
You know, I would just tell you, every day, when you wake up, if you're an entrepreneur, just, someone who's looking for any type of spirituality, or just, any type of, um, messages. The way to do this is, I have a few mantras that I follow daily. One is, nothing is happening to me, it's happening for me. and it's happening for, my purpose, for my benefit. And, instead of looking at the cup half empty, look at it, half full.
Yeah.
The worst thing, you can do is, look at, everything in a negative way than a positive way. Because believe me, energy manifests itself. And
Mhm.
when you're looking at things, in a positive way, positive things happen. That's kind of like my secret or the secret. The other thing is, if you're thinking of starting that next new gig, what's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is you started and it doesn't work. But if you never ever take that next step to start it, you'll never know
That's
how
right.
to pan out. So, if you're looking at doing something, taking the next step, I've always, this has been my mantra: knock on that door, take that next leap, do that, take that next step, because you never know unless you give it a shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Nellie, once again, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation today. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you.
I
And I am
appreciate
just,
you. Thank you.
oh, you're so welcome. Thanks again, Nellie.
You.